Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures Podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives the military community a voice in the veteran space to share their stories of service, how they continue to make a difference in civilian life, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, we have a special edition with a returning guest, Christopher Brodi Pursley, who is an Army veteran who served from 2000 to 2006, including 5 years of active duty with the 112th Signal Battalion, Special Operations Airborne at Fort Bragg. As a tactical satellite communications specialist, he completed four deployments across Hungary, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Africa. Following his service, Brodi's entrepreneurial journey led him from the casino industry to founding a leadership development company and owning Tommy Hawk's Four States Axe House. A competitive axe and knife thrower for 5 years, he competed at the highest levels, including the U.S. Open and the 2022 and 2023 World Championships. While he has recently retired from professional competition, he still frequently attends legacy tournaments for the community and fun. Currently, Brodi serves as the executive director for A Dog's Dream, a nonprofit dedicated to rehoming retired breeding dogs through close collaboration with responsible breeders. Hello, Brodi. Welcome back to Tactical Treasures podcast. I'm really excited for talking about your new venture. And again, thank you so much for your service to our country.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be back on the podcast. I love that you do these updates with prior guests, and I'm really glad to be here to kind of talk about my journey and where we're going in the future.
Right, right. You're an Army veteran. Can you just sort of brief me on, something impactful from your Army service that meant a lot to you?
I mean, I could bundle it all together and just say the entire experience really shaped and formed who I am today. Um, the people that I met, the brotherhood that was formed, that carries on to this day. And I've been out of the service for 20 years. So, that circle of friends and that brotherhood is really, it's a therapy circle. It's just a lifelong bond that you make with your brotherhood and your friends while you're in the military. And they have helped me along this journey. They've carried me on their shoulders and vice versa. So I think the biggest thing that I can take away from my time in service is just carrying on that brotherhood and maintaining those lifelong friendships that really just help each other form and be better and push to that next level as you move forward.
I love that. And it's really awesome that brotherhood continues after your service and that you help each other on your journey to your next chapters in life. I love that. I think that's amazing. Knife throwing, axe throwing, you're now retired. Um, so
Yeah, and for lack of a better term.
I'll never forget our last conversation. It was very enlightening. Never talked to a professional knife and axe thrower before. It was really great.
I like to equate that the axe and knife throwing journey that I had. I like to equate at least the community and the friendships that were made. I equate that similar to the military because it's people from all over the country, from all races, creeds, religions, and we all get together at these events, these tournaments across the country, and it really, you just meet these new awesome people, and everybody gets along. And that's kind of how we were in the military. We didn't see race, creed, color. We saw green, and those were our friends, and those were our brothers and sisters by our side. And the axe throwing community was really similar to that, and the fact that we all were just one big melting pot, and we all got together and supported each other, and it was a fun journey to say the least.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like it. And I know you still do a couple tournaments, legacy tournaments, just for fun, right?
I do, yeah. We've got one coming up in Batesville, Arkansas at Tomahawk Chop. Mike and Drew Moss, the owners of that venue, are amazing people through and through. We will support them in whatever endeavors that they have, presently and in the future. And they've always supported us, and they're just really kind, awesome people. So, that's kind of like you said, it's a legacy tournament. Even though I don't compete anymore, it's one tournament out of the year that we will always go to. Just to rekindle that relationship, A, with the sport, and B, with the throwers. So
Yeah.
it's a really good time, and they usually have it in August, September every year. So we'll be headed out there and throw in that, maybe warm my arm up a little bit.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Okay, so you have a new venture. You are now the executive director for A Dog's Dream. I would love to
Yes, ma'am.
have you just talk about that journey. How did you get there?
So, several years ago, as I mentioned in the last podcast, I was a co-owner and founder of Tommy Hawk's Axe House,
Hmm.
which is no longer running here in the four-state area. But that venture led into me running as well a veteran-based nonprofit, which I mentioned before, Brotherhood of Warriors. Um, and so I had a little bit of entrepreneur experience. I had a little bit of nonprofit experience, and the board of directors for A Dog's Dream was looking for somebody with those qualifications. So they contacted me, and I took a little bit of time to think about it and went ahead and accepted the role. Uh, jumping in head first to A Dog's Dream, a non-profit in the pet industry, was a little bit new to me. But I've got a great mentor that's helping me out, Ed Sayers. He's a titan in the pet industry. He was CEO of the ASPCA. Um, he's just a wealth of knowledge and education, and he's really helped me understand how to navigate through these waters and what I need to do within the pet industry to make our nonprofit successful.
Right, right. So, I would love if you would just talk to me about the mission of A Dog's Dream. I'm a dog lover myself. We've had a couple boxers
Yeah.
in our past, and we currently don't have a dog right now, just due to life circumstances. I love rescuing dogs. I love, being able to, adopt a dog in need. And I think that's part of A Dog's Dream,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah, it is. Myself and my staff are so passionate about what we do and how we do it. And that's one of the key foundations of having a nonprofit like we have is that people, you just have to be passionate about what we do with dogs and, putting them in lifelong loving homes. So, what I like to tell people is what separates us apart from humane societies, animal shelters, rescues,
Hmm.
is that we're none of those things. We are a pioneering 501c3 nonprofit in the pet industry. We are an adoption facility, adoption center. So that's kind of what sets us apart. And so to preface that, we intake retiring breeder dogs from breeders that want to practice responsible adoption. So a lot of times breeders, there's a small section of breeders in the country that will take their dogs when they retire and they'll put them on the street or they'll euthanize them or they'll give them to shelters. And we want to change the narrative and link up with these breeders so that they can have the peace of mind knowing that those retiring breeder dogs are going to lifelong loving homes and being
Right.
adopted in the correct way. So when we intake those dogs from our breeders, um, we put them through what I like to call our SET program, which is socialization, enrichment, and training. And they get a familiarization with other dogs, with other humans, because a lot of times these breeder dogs, they're stuck in a cage the majority of their life, just pumping
Right.
out puppies.
Yeah.
And,
Hmm.
as sad as that is, we want to give these dogs a nice transition so that they can be in a home environment and around people. So we give them that socialization with humans and other dogs. We give them the enrichment, some training, leash training, obedience training, hand signals, and our facility really allows us to do that because we took over an old house. So that's our office, that's our facility, and they being in that environment really gives them that good transition of being in a house already. So, once that process is done, people can go onto our website. They can go onto Pet Finder and look us up at A Dog's Dream and check out the puppies, check out the dogs.
Hmm.
They can schedule meet and greets to come out and meet the dog, see if it's a good fit with their family or other animals. And from that point forward, if they want to adopt, then they adopt, and we do a couple follow ups afterwards just to make sure that everything's going well and smooth. But that's our mission, and just to complete that circle of life for these dogs and lead them into a loving home and a loving family to practice that responsible adoption.
I love that. So how many dogs can you take in at a time? Have like so many number of breeders that you work with? Like maybe you work with five responsible breeders, or how does that work?
So we can, right now, as it stands, we can house about 40 to 50 dogs.
Oh, wow.
And we've got dogs
Okay.
from all breeds. Yeah, so we've got a pretty good sized facility, and we've got a big, a couple play yards outside where the dogs can play together and get that socialization. But on average, we host about 40 to 50 dogs. We're looking to expand that this year. We're already in the process of expanding a play yard so that they have another bigger area to play and run around. Um, and as for the breeders, we have a specific list that we go off of. We partner currently with about 25 to 30 responsible breeders. And when I
Oh
say
my
responsible
gosh.
breeders, they're
Okay.
state licensed, AKC licensed. They're CCC, which is Canine Care Certified. That's a Purdue program that
Hmm.
comes in and physically does the inspections for these breeders and their programs. So it's kind of a top level inspection program too, where you
Wow.
know that you're dealing with a responsible breeder. And we try to lean towards that CCC breeder. And we've also got another list of, I would say, close to 200 breeders that we are trying to contact and see if they would like to come into our program and be that responsible breeder in the pet industry, so that again we can change the narrative and change the track that these breeders are on.
Hello, viewers and listeners. The JDog Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. 100% of all proceeds goes directly to the organizations we are partnered with. If you go to jdogfoundation.org, you can learn more about our mission, donate, and if you are in need of help, please dial 988. Our motto, saving lives one veteran at a time. Check us out, jdogfoundation.org. Right, right. Oh my gosh. Brody, that's amazing. I had no idea that how huge your
It is
operation was. 40 to 50 dogs? That's unbelievable.
40
And
to 50
it,
dogs. So in aspect to that, we're a relatively small nonprofit. We're kind of out in the country, right across the street in Neosho, Missouri, from Pinnacle Pet and Pinnacle Vet Clinic. So we have those resources there. But like I said, we're looking to grow, and to do that, we obviously, being a nonprofit, we need funding and donations and grants. But we've, aside from the dogs, the grown dogs, the retiring breeder dogs themselves, we also have what we call our imperfectly perfect puppies, and those puppies come from the same breeders. However, they can't pass an inspection to get into a pet store. So let's say they just have a bad knee or a heart murmur. We've got a really beautiful Australian Shepherd that we adopted out that was deaf.
oh,
And those puppies, they range anywhere from 12 weeks to 3 months, 4 months. And the adult dogs are generally between 2 years and 7 years when we get
hmm,
them. Although we
hmm,
do have a couple older ones, older than 7 years, but they
yeah.
seem to go pretty quick because there are a niche of people out there that really want these older dogs.
Right, right. So the adoption process, could you talk to me about that?
So it's relatively simple. We do a slight bit of vetting for the people that want to adopt these dogs. I mean, technically, you could just come in off the street and do a meet and greet and look at the dogs, and we really use our empathy and our sense of humanity just to gauge a person or a family to see if they're going to be a good fit. But ultimately, we don't want to vet people so hard that they are unable to utilize these dogs, on an adoption basis, because you don't know if they just need that little bit of therapy to have a dog in their presence.
Right.
So we do a little bit of vetting, and they come out, they meet the dog, we kind of gauge it from there. And from there, they fill out the adoption contract, pay a small mandatory donation fee, and they're able to take the dog home.
That's awesome. Do you do any home inspections like that? Because I know in a lot of other um, adoption organizations do that.
Right. At this point, we don't. Um,
Okay.
it could, as we grow, that might be a necessity,
Hmm.
as we get more dogs and more space and more traffic through our doors.
Right.
That's definitely a possibility. Uh, but again, we don't really want to infringe on anybody's lifestyle. As
Sure.
as far as there's a fine line there that you really kind of have to maintain. So at this
Right.
point,
I
we don't
understand.
do any kind of home inspections or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so uh, I understand that you do have a relationship with Heartland Canine for Veterans. So could you talk to me about that relationship and how it works? Do they get some of your dogs for veterans, and do they end up being service dogs?
Yeah, absolutely. So Heartland Canines for Veterans is an outstanding nonprofit for that supplies uh, veteran therapy dogs, service dogs to veterans, and they go through a much rigorous process than we go through on the adoption side, obviously, because the dogs that come through Heartland Canine really have to be trained from a young age and given that necessary care and attention to perform their duties as a therapy or a service dog.
Right.
And they primarily focus on the service dogs. There is a difference between therapy and service dog and ESA. So the executive director for that program is Jimmy Burgess, and he's one of my best friends for the last 25 years. Unknowingly, we were in sister units in the military, both special operations guys. He was a 160th Night Stalker, so he's done his time around the world, and he's doing great things out there right now with Heartland Canines for Veterans. He's also a firefighter, so he's just kind of your man's man, and he's very familiar with the industry as far as service dogs go. So he's a great fit for that organization. He's doing really great things over there to get service dogs to the veterans. And to answer the backside of your question, there are occasionally dogs that come through our facility that we can kind of gauge to see if they're going to be a good fit to train for a service dog.
Mm,
I think and I could be wrong, but I think the average cost to train a service dog is close to $30,000, and
yeah.
that's from start to finish. So it's not a cheap process.
Mm,
It is very intricate, and he gives that attention to detail to every dog that he brings in. So some of the dogs that we utilize, he can come out and check them out and see if they're going to be a good fit. And we just had a really awesome black lab that a serviceman was linking up with to make his service dog. And so we housed them out there at our facility, and then Jimmy ended up coming out and picking them up and linking them up with the veteran. And uh, it's a special process because you get to know that you're providing these awesome dogs as a therapy and a service dog to a veteran. I mean, it
right.
gives me the chills talking about it because I feel like if that service wasn't there, it would just be detrimental to servicemen and women out there that require that therapy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's amazing. These dogs, you just never know. They have innate skills that, if someone looks hard
Mm-hmm.
enough, they can be considered for, therapy or service dog. So that's awesome that you were able
Absolutely.
to partner with them and provide those neat dogs that are so needed for servicemen and women. Brody, this has been amazing. I love the fact that your organization is finding a way for breeder dogs to have another chance at life, and you're unfortunately, there are breeders out there that dispose of the dog, so to speak, um, and they don't have
Right.
another chance, So I think you're doing great work. But you're
Thank you.
very familiar with Tactical Treasures podcast and the $64,000 question that I ask my guests all the time. We've come to the time
Mm.
where I would love to ask you, what is your tactical treasure? And do you have a new one since the last time we spoke?
I think the one I mentioned on the previous podcast, I think was a coin from the Secretary of the Navy.
Yes, yes.
That really is it's it's the bones, it's the foundation of you know my service. I feel like because that it's not every day you get a coin from somebody that high up in the echelons, and to be able to work with the secretary at that point of time was it was just really eye opening. I was grateful to be able to do that, and honored, obviously. So that's something that I carry with me, and I like to share with people, and occasionally toss down on a bar and win a free drink from some of my buddies. But
That's great.
overall, that would be the physical tactical treasure. But I think really the ultimate tactical treasure that I carry and that a lot of other servicemen and women carry is just that feeling of knowing that we served our country, we served our brothers and sisters to our left and right, and it's that alone is rewarding enough and a treasure that you can carry on for the rest of your life. Because I know my kids and my grandkids they're gonna grow up and they're gonna see some pictures and they're gonna hear stories, and hopefully that will inspire them to do something great, whether it's service related or not. Um, you know, that alone is the treasure, is to be able to pass on that mission and give that sense of brotherhood to the people around you, and that sense of mission and that sense of purpose.
Yeah, I love that. That's an awesome tactical treasure, and really, whether you serve in the military or not, it is all about service above self. What can you do for people around you? How can you make a difference in your world, whatever that world looks like?
Yeah,
And but certainly, we appreciate. I do more than you know. Those who have signed on that dotted line and keep watch so that we're
absolutely.
safe here at home. It means the world to me. Thank you. So, any advice for your fellow veterans that are struggling with transition post military?
I can speak from my own personal experience. When I got out of the military, I took about 6 months off to help. You have to have that forward momentum and that need and the desire to be able to fit back into the civilian world. If you don't have that, I really encourage you to find a service, a brother or sister that you served with that can help you through whatever it is that you're going through, in that transition. In the time that I took, it really allowed me to uh, meet new people, look at different jobs, and form myself more to the civilian aspect. But through that, the most important thing that I carried with me was that I had a good support circle. And if you don't have a good support circle, I highly encourage you to seek that out, to talk to your friends, your family, and you'll be surprised what they can offer you in that transition to civilian life. And there are so many organizations out there that can help as well, whether it be from the VFW to the Wounded Warrior Program to the
Mm-hmm.
VA. The VA has gotten significantly better in the last 10 to 15 years. They've streamlined a lot of things, a lot of services. They've added more programs. So there is
Mm-hmm.
help out there. You just have to have that need and that desire and that forward momentum to be able to get better and to transition successfully.
Yeah, yeah, that's great advice. And transition, I think, from the military is just difficult, no matter how you slice it. Um, just because you go into the military one way and you come out and you're forever changed. You're a different person. So, and how you find that niche in the civilian world again, yeah, it can be a journey. But I love what you say. You need a support system. You need resources, but you have to take that step. You have to reach out, and you have to, want to grab onto that. So I think that's great advice. Thank
Absolutely.
you for that.
And it could even be something as small as getting a service dog to help you be
That's
more
right.
comfortable around people or in public. And if that's the case, look up Heartland Canines for Veterans. Talk to Jimmy Burgess. He will, if he
Yes.
can't help you, he will definitely steer you in the right direction.
Yeah. That's great advice too. Yeah. Sometimes you just need a battle buddy, right?
Absolutely. And if that battle
Yeah.
buddy has 4 legs, more the better.
Yeah. And those four legs, I'll tell you, the dogs are amazing, amazing, amazing animals. How
They are.
they just gravitate and read the person that they're taking care of. Just amazing. Um, Before you go, can you tell us where people can find and connect with you, and where they can find out more information on a dog stream?
Absolutely. So you can look us up online or our website, which is adogsdream.org, O-R-G. We're also on Facebook at adogsdream.adoptions, and we're on Instagram with adogsdream.adoption. That's no S at the end. So, um, you can look us up there. You can find all the information that you need. If anybody would like to contact me directly as far as funding or any specific questions that you have, it's just my email is Brodi at adogsdream.org. We've got a lot of good things going on. We've got a lot of good campaign fundraisers that we're doing and some more in the books. Uh, I just created this year an adoption ambassador program. So a business or an individual can uh, provide a one-time $500 tax deductible donation, and that pairs the business with an intake of a dog and tracks them through the whole journey of adoption, past adoption to the first follow-up. So it's kind of a give and take relationship. I like to give back. If somebody donates to us, I want to give them at least a social media presence to let the community know that they're giving back to the community and that they care about what's going on in their surrounding areas. So that's a great program that we've started up, and it's going successfully so far. But yeah, so look us up, adogsdream.org, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll be sure to get the word out. Brody, thank you so much for your time today, and it was
Thank you.
wonderful to see you again and to hear about your new venture. I think it's awesome. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Trace. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here, and good luck with everything you got going on in the future.
Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Tactical Treasures podcast. We've just finished up a very enlightening conversation with Christopher Brodi Pursley, who is an Army veteran who is now serving as the executive director for A Dog's Dream, which is a pioneering 501c3 dog adoption agency. Their mission is to find loving homes for retired breeding dogs, ensuring they enjoy a well-deserved retirement filled with love and care. At A Dog's Dream, they match each dog with a suitable adoptive family through a thorough screening process. Their team provides comprehensive veterinary care, prioritizing their health and well-being. They also focus on their emotional needs, offering a nurturing environment, exercise, training, and socialization opportunities. A Dog's Dream also has a relationship and collaborates with Heartland Canines for Veterans, which provides service dogs for disabled veterans. To learn more, donate, or adopt, go to adogsdream.org. Once on the website, you can complete the Circle of Responsibility adoption to be considered for adopting and giving these remarkable dogs a new chapter in life via a peaceful and loving retirement home they deserve. Again, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, you can find Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms, American Grit, on our website, tacticaltreasurespodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. We're now airing on Reese Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you miss that, be sure to tune in for the encore on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. We are also proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Wreaths Across America sponsorship group. For each $17 Veterans Wreath that you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTSD. You can donate right now at wreathsacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.